Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy new year to all of you in year 8. Obviously, sorry that you can't be with us today. However, I wanted to give you a couple of key messages for your home learning this week and next week, and obviously we hope to see you back in school on the 18th of January. So the first thing is that if you are struggling to access anything at home, could you please let me know? That can be via Show My Homework in the first instance, or equally parents can phone in or email me according to the function on our email system on the Haygrove website. So just please do bear that in mind, that we are here, where all the teaching staff are in school, and we are hoping to see you in our live lessons from tomorrow. So first of all, for every lesson, a little bit like during the first lockdown, you can log in at home, you'll go onto your Show My Homework, the teacher will have provided you the link to the Google Classroom, and then obviously a link then to your live lesson. I just wanted to remind you a little bit about obviously what we expect from you in those live lessons. So you need to have your exercise book out, or the resources out for that lesson. You'll be following your normal timetable, okay? And that will include tutor time. So every day your tutor time will start at 8:40 to 9 o'clock. Your tutor will be sending out the link, and you will also be having your normal assembly, hopefully, on a Wednesday morning. Now I say the word hopefully in that, and that is because I know that this week, for example, will not be happening on Wednesday, and that is because at the moment we can't actually have 214 students on our Google Classroom, so I can't actually do an assembly to all of you. That's why I pre-recorded this one for you to watch during the week this week. Hopefully by next week we can have ironed that out for you. Well, first thing is be on time to all of your lessons and to your tutor time first thing in the morning. That is really important, ladies and gentlemen. So you get yourselves organised. As soon as that link is posted, make sure that you're there with all of the resources. Make sure that you have good manners, that you're polite as well, because that staff have gone to a lot of effort. We want the atmosphere to be lovely and positive for those lessons going forward. And obviously be a bit patient or empathetic to some members of the class who might be struggling to get on, because that you can imagine, particularly this week, there will be the odd teething problem that we want to sort out as well. Please remember your expectations during those live lessons. So when you enter the lesson, you need to make sure that you're on mute, for example. We would also like you to have your cameras on, please. Now, that is because that we want it to feel a little bit like a normal classroom. So we don't want anyone to have their cameras turned off. We want to be able to see you. And it'll also mean that we can watch what you're doing. So we want to make sure that you are writing down everything that we're telling you to. And also, if you get stuck, we'll be able to actually see that process happening quite quickly, as opposed to you sort of sitting back a little bit unsure as to what you're doing. So it is important that you have your cameras turned on as well. Please obviously remember that whilst your camera's on, you need to be making sure that you're behaving appropriately during that time, and also that you are that your whole camera is on you. All right, so we don't need to be seeing, you know, Barry the dog, but we do want to be seeing you. So that is also important. So make sure that you've got those things set up. Anyone who is not behaving appropriately will be leaving the group. So we have the ability to basically remove you from the classroom, and then people at home and parents will be getting a call from me to say so-and-so hasn't behaved appropriately, sadly. We never had an incident like that in the last lockdown, and I'm hoping that we won't on this occasion. We just want you, knowing how important it is for your learning, to have a really, really good lesson and a good experience this home learning. Obviously the chat facility on Google Meet, you might remember, is only to be used when instructed by the teacher. They might, for example, ask you to write down some answers to check your understanding. They might ask you to let them know when you've completed a task, because we can't always gauge that. So those things are really important, and that's another reason why we want you to have your cameras on, so that we can actually tell when we need to be moving on with the next task. Obviously we need to make sure that you're dressed appropriately. You don't have to wear your school uniform, we're not asking you to do that, but we do need to make sure that you're not still in your pyjamas, all right, and that you are dressed appropriately for lessons, and that you've got all your resources with you. And that, you know, you're in a good environment appropriate to working. So for example, not on your bed. Yeah, we would like you to be somewhere where you can actually write properly, and all those things that are conducive to you getting a really good experience out of this. Now then, please can you also make sure that you are communicating with your teachers through Show My Homework. That's a really big thing. We are here all day for you, obviously teaching a full timetable like we would if you were in school as well, but we want to make sure that if you've got any concerns, questions or issues, that you're communicating those with the class teacher. If you have any ICT issues, please try and reconnect several times before sending the teacher a message. And the reason why we're asking that is because sometimes it might just take a couple of minutes for the link to be established and that connection to be made, or maybe you copy and pasted it incorrectly or something like that. And also we're acutely aware that whilst the teacher is delivering a live lesson, they are probably not on Show My Homework at the same time. So what we would ask you to do is to try several times, then you can, if it's still not working, send the teacher a message and we can then make sure that's all up and working for you for your next lesson. Classes are also likely to be mixed. So lots of you will be at home, but we will actually be having some students in school, particularly, for example, those students whose parents might be key workers, and they're actually going to be doing the lesson in person in front of us. So just please bear that in mind so that you know that that is happening as well. If you are coming into school over the next couple of days, if you've been contacted by your head of year, for example, and been offered a place in school because that we happen to know that parents are a key worker or whatever reason that might be, you do not have to wear your PE kit on any day. Okay, so the lessons, you're all following your timetable, but you don't need to be wearing your PE kit. Obviously, there is also Sharp, which is through our school website. There's a little tab which says Sharp, and if you are concerned about your mental health or any issues at all, you can actually message those issues in. Now, it can be anonymous. However, in those cases, might be really important that we contact you and make sure you're okay. And we wanted to make sure you had that facility so that we had an open dialogue about your well-being and your mental health with you as well throughout this time when we might not see you and you might not then be able to necessarily speak to us face to face. Those things are there in place because we want to be helping you and listening to you. Any concerns from parents, obviously please contact the head of year or head of department. And I would like to say, ladies and gentlemen, just to remember obviously the normal COVID stuff, because that you're not here for us to remind you. Washing your hands for 30 seconds, making sure you're wearing that face mask, crucially always keeping 2 meters away from somebody who's not in your household, because those are things that are going to mean that we can get back into the classroom as soon as possible. And if you come into school, and when you all come back, they will be very, very big things as they were last term as well. If you are coming into school and you're invited in over the next couple of days, you will also need to pre-order your lunch if you get lunch from the canteen before tutor time, and that's because obviously our canteen staff are preparing meals for a smaller amount of people. So there's a few things for you to kind of take home and remember from that. Otherwise, your lunch and break times are to be taken the same time as you would have them in school. And it's important you program those in, okay? We want to make sure that you're getting the appropriate rest during the school day, that you're not just glued to your computer screen waiting for us to start up the next lesson, but that you do go downstairs, make yourself a drink, get yourself a snack, have a bit of a change of scene. Please don't put the television on and watch an hour's episode of Friends or something, because you'll then be late for your next lesson. But do kind of get a bit of fresh air, have a bit of a kick around at lunchtime in the back garden, whatever you need to do to have that break, and then come back maybe a couple of minutes before the lessons start, get yourself organised, exercise book out, etc., log on, and then you'll be ready to start again. If there is anyone who, for example, is struggling with the amount of IT resources they have at home, maybe there's 4 of you in the household and for example there's only 1 laptop, please do not hesitate to contact me. We have a small number of laptops here at school and we are assessing on a case-by-case basis those people who the government has said are eligible for those. But please do get in touch, because that you might end up being one of those people and we can then sort that issue out for you. So, ladies and gentlemen, have a really, really lovely week this week. Make sure that obviously you get in touch with us if you need any help at all, and we look forward to seeing you on the 18th of January. Bye-bye now.